Hey guys, welcome
Hey
back
everyone.
to our Rogue Discourse episode 2 or 3, whatever you want to call it,
The
since
name
we've
is
done
so
this many
good.
times. It is so good. I actually was making the show notes and put your name as the show notes at first. And then I was like, I need to change it to say Rogue Discourse because your name is so good. So, how are you tonight?
I'm not bad. You? I'm anxiously looking forward to a quieter week on the schedule front for me, which will help with a lot of stuff. Hey, Base is here.
What's
What's
up,
up?
guys?
How's it
I forget
going?
I'm in control tonight, so I get to
I
I
know,
get to
yeah.
play with it.
Chop chop.
Yes. So tonight we've got a couple good things. We're going to talk about the Charlie Kirk updates with Joe Kent on the Tucker Carlson show. Talk about kind of what that implicates. I think it kind of implicates our FBI looking a bit shady. I don't know about you, but no
That's
surprise.
my shock face.
What's up, Amp? Good to see you, man.
Hey. It's like my
Um,
favorite picture. His. I
I
love it.
know. What's up, Zero? How are you guys? I'm letting people kind of come in before we kick it off.
Yeah.
Some of our faves already in the chat.
I do have that guy we were watching for funny stuff at the last week. I do have his up if you wanted to watch something funny just to jumpstart
Heck yeah.
the
Get it.
stream. Just something a little silly pants.
Sharing out
All
the
right.
scream. I think you mean stream, Jeannie. But maybe stream. Yeah, kick us off with some funny bone stuff. We're gonna kick
All
off
right.
with some fun.
Remember I was talking about the one where he does moms on taco night? Let's go with that
Yes.
one because it's so
Okay.
good. All right. I think it's up here. I was trying to find another one that popped up on my YouTube feed for snow days because Monday might be a snow day and we're in spring and it's gross, but he doesn't have it as Instagram and it's easier to do it this here. So we'll pull up this one, but
Hey girl, how are you? We're kicking off with some funny stuff.
just to get everybody up and going here. Where'd it go? Did I
I
lose it
swear when you
already?
share your screen lately, your face is freezing. I swear that StreamYard hates us some days.
I don't know why it's been doing that. It's so weird.
It's so
I should have
weird.
kept up the one. There it is. Mom's on taco night. Is the share working though?
Yeah,
Like you
you
can
can
see
see
what
that
I'm
just
doing?
fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. A little bit of salt, not too much. It's January.
I don't know what that means. It's January.
Alexa, put on Margaritaville Jimmy Buffett.
New diet.
That's the stuff. Smelling good. How was school? When I was a kid, we eat tomatoes right out of the garden. Just like that, I tell you. Who's your father? Salt, you know it. Come on, sing it with me. Get everything in a separate bowl. Open a window. I got too much on my freaking plate. Your father bought brown lettuce. You better eat the lettuce.
Brown lettuce.
I'm not putting that in a bowl. Your father only bought 12, so keep it light. Remember the bucks? Love those. Teachers were always asking for them.
No seconds for us.
For? Every freaking time they have it in the regular. Where's the freaking cheese? He didn't buy the freaking cheese. I bought these for the freaking kids, and now I gotta use them for the tacos. Freaking
Cheese sticks.
Cheese sticks.
knock it off.
Anybody else ever have that happen?
Yes.
Before Gigi passed.
The last one that can't get to come back to freaking life because somebody overwanted it. It's got root rot. No, nobody freaking cares about nothing. Okay, make a lovely dinner, and everybody's out here making fun of me. It's Bill Down. You're doing meat station, cheese, lettuce, tomato, plenty of olives, sour cream, and salsa. And go sit in the couch and meal them. Let's go. Make a plate, just like the tacos in Epcot.
Just like the tacos in Epcot.
A little bit of salt.
Oh, I love him.
I do too. He's great. He's a good here we are. This is kind of how we are, right?
It's such a call out. They're always so accurate. I love it.
I do too. Do we want to kick off with the Tucker video? Let me share my screen.
You mean the one with Joe Kent?
Yeah, just a quick clip to get into it.
Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds. All right.
It's been a big week for that man.
It has. Joe Kent's been everywhere. He's been global.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously, so much.
No, I haven't, Amp. Let me know. I haven't seen that one yet. There's
No,
just
I
so
know.
much.
I have been
Oh,
behind
wait.
because of work for me this week, so I've been trying to play catch up
Yeah,
over the
okay,
last
wait,
like
yes.
12 hours.
Sid. That's Sid. I've done a video on Sid Amp, right? Okay, drop that
Okay.
in the chat. Actually, I think I have. Has Joe Kent been with Micro P. Levin yet? No, not that I know of. We're anxiously waiting for that show off. Did you see that, Rogue?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, like
So
the like I'd have you on for an interview. Oh my god, I can't.
yeah. Oh, he's so
I love how Joe Kent's like, "Yep,
he's like, okay, I'm
set it
in.
up."
Dude, yeah, no backing down. Okay, I'm going to push play and hope. Wait, okay.
What kind of pressure
That's
does
not
it
the right one.
require? You believe there was
There we
reason
go.
to investigate foreign ties to Charlie Kirk's murder and were told by the FBI, DOJ?
FBI and DOJ, yeah.
No, you're not allowed to investigate that.
Stop. It's done. Basically cut off our access to be able to get into that information. I didn't even say necessarily that I believe there's 100% foreign ties. There were data points that we needed to investigate that pertained to some kind of a foreign nexus that we were stopped from investigating.
That just strikes me as inconceivable that that could happen. What were you told was the reason to prevent you as a federal intelligence official from looking into the murder when you had reason to look into it?
We basically were told that, hey, we'll get back to you if we find any kind of foreign ties. Meanwhile, we had already dug up a decent amount of leads. Again, I'm not saying that we had anything concrete, but we found more work that we needed to do. We were then told, you guys need to stop. You can't work on this anymore.
You believe there...
Okay. I felt like there was a lot just in that sentence.
Yeah. Numerous.
Yeah, I felt like if you have data points that you already are looking into, and then the FBI is telling you, we'll get back to you if we have data points. Yikes.
That, and then even just towards the end there where he was saying, they had what was the word he used? Essentially, they had a handful of things that they wanted to look into, like leads is what he used for a word.
Mhm.
And that to me just stands out because I feel like that has been one of the things that people have been shitting all over people like us for,
Yeah.
is like following the leads as if like you can't say anything until we know already for sure the answer to something. That's not how it works. You look into something, you see where it brings you. It may go nowhere, it may go somewhere, but you look into it because it's a lead and it doesn't always pan out, just like every other crime that's ever been investigated under the sun.
Yeah.
There's probably not a detective out there that will tell you that the moment they had a lead, they didn't say anything to anybody until they knew for sure that was the 100% proven, situation. Obviously not. It's just not how it works. But people have been so upset about anybody just looking into anything that had happened on or around or at any period of time in the vicinity of September 10th. And it's absurd.
Well, and that doesn't, like, in my opinion, he also expanded on the fact that they were making a state level case. That doesn't mean you can just take out, like, Joe Kent's division. You can still keep doing what you're doing and still investigate foreign ties. They don't need to be
Yeah.
one or the other. So to me, that sounds like bull.
It's incredibly telling to imagine that they had potential leads, because I don't know about you, but if you're talking about a crime, no matter what, you're talking about so many things. You're talking about, getting the truth for loved ones. You're talking about getting justice for individuals who could be falsely accused of something. Like there's so much on the line. So to imagine that you're just going to blow off leads as if like you already know for a fact that there's nothing there it's just negligent at that point.
It is. And like when you think about how the FBI already handled it, they put out like fake people, right? They thought they had George Zinn, and then they said they had another guy, and then finally they had their guy, and yet they haven't given us any real proof that they actually have their guy. Like that just
It's
made
ridiculous.
Yeah, it made it look even worse when you think to yourself, okay, well, how the FBI has already handled this case, and then he's resigning and going on Tucker's podcast stating, yeah, we definitely had more leads. So the people who don't believe the narrative, which is most people, are now definitely going to even more not believe the narrative when it's like
Yeah.
this guy's coming on national television, like independent version.
Well,
And
and
they're
this is
not.
great too, because I don't know if you remember, and I don't remember his name. I know that they are other individuals who were in the military, maybe Green Berets, something like that, that had been talking with one another a couple of months back, but basically saying that they had some contacts with individuals in the CIA, like top level CIA individuals who were like, talking directly about the fact that Kash Patel had been bought and paid for, and that's why the foreign aspect was shut down at hour 48 or whatever it was. And so I feel like it's great that he's saying this, because those are kind of those little clips that I feel like only people who are digging find them. Like, I know that was going around for a bit, but it was like the shortest clip ever. And I feel like it was talked about for like 5 minutes. And if you weren't someone who was readily following this, you might have missed that clip that was going around about Kash and all of that. And so just having another person from a substantial position within government saying the same thing again, it's just more confirmation of the shadiness.
Well, yeah, and remember that people were saying that, and I don't know how true this is, but that his girlfriend was an asset of a foreign country that we all know. I don't think that's a coincidence that those rumors were going around. And then the person that, was attempting to investigate foreign ties, and we all think we probably know the foreign ties we're talking about here, they were shut down. That's not a coincidence. Okay, I'm going to put this up. J.D. Vance's anti-war slogan is BS when it was Peter Thiel from Palantir that has many military contracts with government that convinced Trump to choose Vance as VP. He has to obey his guru. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that, unfortunately, they all have a billionaire, which I've talked about several times, but that kind of gets off on another point. But everyone does have a billionaire, I would say, a billionaire handler, which...
Yeah, there's always that person for, yeah.
Yes, pretty much. I think they all have a billionaire if they're on the public stage. So, yeah, I thought Ken's stuff was, super interesting. I think motive would be... Like, we can kind of revisit maybe a motive on why Charlie Kirk may have potentially been taken out. And a lot of people are speculating it's the being vocal against the U.S.'s war with Iran. So because we are now in that position, people are bringing it back up that, hey, we're in Iran now. Charlie was against this. Those don't seem coincidental. And I'm pretty sure they even kind of made a similar link on the podcast. So that's kind of what I was thinking. I think Rogue's frozen right now, guys.
It's because I'm looking for a video that I wanted to. It's because I'm just not on the screen. It's weird that it's doing that.
That is so weird. It will freeze your face, like, exactly.
So I'll be like this.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'll do it now so that when it freezes, I don't. It
literally is frozen.
Do I look normal at least?
StreamYard needs some help. But yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where I don't feel like we're getting clear answers still, and every time we're closer, it just gets more absurd. Like, someone comes out saying they couldn't keep investigating. Oh my god, Judy, this is so funny. So yeah, do you want to share anything, Rogue, right now?
I just was watching one of Zach Costello's videos the other day, and he had a clip of Joe Kent that I just thought was like, it was just a great clip of him, like, not specific to like the current situation, but just like, it was just a great clip of him speaking. And I thought it would be cool to share if you want to.
Yeah. Do you have it?
Yeah.
Let's do it. I think Joe Kent seems pretty solid, but once again, people have said he probably runs in the Palantir ties.
Yeah. I mean, we've been fooled before. Right.
Exactly.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Feeling here, guys. I'm going to bring up this part of the program with Joe Kent, and I want you guys to listen to this. This is really good stuff, and what I consider probably the most inspiring part of last night. Here you go.
This decision to follow your conscience. Give us a little backstory. How did that happen?
Without getting too much into detail, I just did a long form podcast with Tucker, kind of laid out the entire politics of the issue. But look, after serving 20 years, mostly deployed to the Middle East, fighting the wars over there, and just seeing how our country had been lied to and brought down the wrong path in those wars, and that we were getting sucked into another one, and that the American people didn't have the full story, and our country did not have a vital national interest in this current fight. I said, hey, I in good conscience can't do this, because that was a promise I made to myself probably 20 plus years ago when I was deployed to Iraq. Once I realized after my first couple deployments that we weren't there for the reasons that our government told us we were there for, I said, if it's ever my turn, if I'm ever an adult in this situation, I ever have a position of responsibility, I will not, in good conscience, send young men and women off to die on foreign battlefields.
So,
yeah, I mean, pause it right there. Incredible.
I wanted to say too, I don't know, did when we talked, I don't remember. I watched so much stuff, I can't remember if it was something that I watched with you or what. Did we talk at all about his wife and everything with his wife?
With
Joe Kent's
yes.
wife?
I don't know if
Did
we
we
talked about
cover
it on
that?
stream, but
I'm
it's
just curious how many people are aware of the fact that Joe Kent's wife was killed in war. Like
combat.
she was killed by a suicide bomber. So this man is a widower who's lost his wife, the mother of his children, to war. And so I just feel like, unfortunately, that kind of thing is really probably what it takes for people like him to put their foot down like this, because he knows the reality of it. Whereas all the rest of them can sit there and just act like it's no big deal. We're so disconnected from the people we're sacrificing that it doesn't matter. But for him, it does. And, I think that that's important for people to understand because that's clearly why he's going to be taking this as seriously as he is.
I agree. And he already, I'm sure he already had a principled stance on that. I think it was rumored that a lot of people in the administration actually didn't want to do this. And obviously
Oh,
we
sure.
heard
Yeah.
and we
They're just
heard
not
from
ones that people are going to listen to.
well, and I think they're not the people in Trump's ear. And like
Mhm.
even Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio came out and said basically our greatest ally forced our hand in it.
Yep.
And so if you're a principled person, like it seems Joe Kent is, he's not going to want to, do something that he basically vowed to himself he wouldn't do.
Right.
Many people in politics would not be that way. They'd still want to take
Well,
the check.
and I don't know how old his kids were when all of that happened. You know what I mean? Like to sit back and watch what your kids have to deal with from that standpoint after something like that happens is just on top of already having to deal with the loss. It's just going to make it that much more, I don't know, serious for you. You're going to take it that much more importantly than someone who has no experience in it or just can't wrap their head around how someone else might feel in a scenario,
Right. Yeah. And I think that he was a perfect person to kind of say, like, no, I'm not going to. And I know there's some rumors going around that Tulsi Gabbard may be next to
Yeah.
put in her resignation because she was against this too. She had those shirts like no more
Yeah.
wars, no
Well,
war
they
in
all were.
Iran.
They said it very clearly in all of their speeches.
That's true. I mean, Trump
Everyone.
ran on it. I feel like the only person that I couldn't tell if like he had that standing was Rubio. I think he was always a neocon. Him being in Trump's cabinet, as one of those people, I don't think a lot of people were super happy about. And I know he pushed for a lot of the Venezuela stuff. So, he's the only person I'd be a little bit not surprised if he was like completely in the president's ear trying to get us to go into this war. Especially because I'm pretty sure he takes quite a bit of money from that lobby that we will not name of the foreign country. So I think it's one of those
Let me
things.
see. I had another one too. I did watch the one from Nate Valhalla, I think yesterday, maybe. It might have been a couple days ago now.
Mhm.
I feel like there was one from today. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay, your screen is frozen. We know.
It's so funny. I know,
looking at
when
her
I'm
computer.
looking at stuff. It's
That
so
is
funny.
so weird. They've got to figure that out. Okay, yes, I'm gonna put this on the screen. Isn't it odd that they all switch up after the e-files were exposed? Yeah, a lot of people are calling that the Epstein class and the Epstein war, which I find interesting because once again, Donald Trump ran on the Epstein files. They come out, and from what I can tell, there are like obviously Trump is implicated, but I don't know why else they would start this if there wasn't more people implicated that are hidden that we haven't seen yet because we know we haven't got all the files yet. So, oh, you're back. She's back, guys. It freezes you for so long
It's so
too. I'm
funny.
like,
It's so weird. I feel like it only just started doing that like the last time, right? Because it wasn't doing it before that. One of
no.
these times I'm going to look crazy during the
Yes.
freeze frame. Like I should start freezing like this. And like just making a face like that when I
And we
scoot
make
to
it
the
a
next page.
thumbnail.
Yeah.
All right. It's
All
on.
right. I keep coming back so then I'm not there to hit play because
And guess who MAGA is furious with now? Yes, Sean Ryan, because Sean Ryan's had the audacity over the last couple of weeks to criticize and call out the Trump administration for its handling of trying to cover up the Epstein files and protect a bunch of pedophiles, and of course,
thanks
getting
for
us in another regime
bleeping out your
change
words
war in
for
the
me.
Middle East that they all campaigned on the fact that they would never do. And they are really mad at a lot of people right now. They're mad at Tucker. They're mad at Joe Kent. They're mad at Candace. They're mad at Ian Carroll. They're mad at Sean. They're mad at me. Oh, my God. Anybody who has the audacity to question things like how Charlie Kirk was murdered, why nobody's been arrested in the Epstein files, why we have another war in the Middle East for no reason. Oh, we're the bad guys, aren't we? So that's what we're going to talk about in the video today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Patreon, grab some merch. Let's jump into this thing. Let's take a look at some of Sean's new clips that are enraging his MAGA base. First one we're going to look at is just Sean calling out the flip-flopping bullshit on Iran
This
from the
part I
Trump
think is
administration,
hilarious.
just simply reading off quotes. Then we'll look at his comments and see the rage.
I just think it's funny because he specifically is like, and they're all mad because he's showing them what they said. It's
Right.
literally just looking at their own quotes in comparison to current status. And they're like, I can't believe you. It's like, it's your stuff.
People forget they were on video. Like, this is
Yes, it's
video does not
insane.
lie. You do.
From MAGA base.
What they said on the campaign trail. Trump advisor Stephen Miller on X. Liz Cheney is Kamala's top advisor. Liz wants to invade the whole Middle East. Kamala equals World War III. Trump equals peace. Tulsi Gabbard, October 28, 2024. A vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for Dick Cheney and a vote for war. War and more war. A vote for Donald Trump is a vote to end wars, not start them. Miller also wrote, Kamala will send your sons to war. J.D. Vance, 2023, on the Wall Street Journal. Trump's best foreign policy? Not starting any wars. He has my support because I know he won't recklessly send Americans to fight wars overseas. The Republican National Committee promoted Trump Vance is the pro-peace ticket. Trump on October 30th, 2024. They're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, in quote, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy. Pete Hegseth, December 2025 speech. Our department will not be distracted by democracy-building interventionism, undefined wars, and regime change. Every single one of these things is a complete.
Don't forget, during the Biden administration, Trump said, this president is going to drive us into war because he doesn't know how to negotiate. Well,
Here we are.
Oh, boy, the audacity
Oh
of
no,
Sean.
egg on your face. Yeah, that's where he says the audacity of Sean Ryan to show them their own quotes.
Right. And honestly, it just shows there's just a bunch of liars on both sides. I know you and me
Yes.
just don't really support a side for that very reason.
Exactly.
And the thing is, the problem, we have so much money in politics that these politicians get. So how else are they going to like live up to their donors, right? They have to live up to what their donors want, and if not, they're going to be I don't know, they're going to be complicit with these people if we don't take out money out of the politics. I mean, honestly, people should be elected based on merit and what the people want, not like how much money's funneled into their pockets during these type of things. So I think that's just something to note is we wouldn't have this problem if money wasn't given to these folks.
I know. I don't know if you want. I was watching this other one from him that I think has some really good information in regards to like the Iran situation and the biggest issue with it. And I feel like I can get it right queued up to the right part, but he's basically talking about the impact of the Straits of Hormuz and how it will impact everything. He goes over it very thoroughly. So if it's something you think you'd want to share or talk about, I could certainly pull that one up.
Heck yeah, might as well. We're in the
Yeah,
thick
I
of
was
it.
like, I know there was something else, and this is a good one.
So for
let me
me,
just
the only
find the
Patriot-
spot because
Agree, slow burn. Yeah, money really is the root of all evil. It's what corrupts everybody. If you didn't have money in politics or not as prominently, I'm sure they'd find another way, but it's a pretty substantial way.
all right, you ready?
Thanks, Faze. Make sure you guys hit the like.
We agree with what they're spending our money on or not, they're still going to make sure
I feel like
that
this
we
is
have
really
to pay 'em.
important.
Let's get back to the video. Let's actually take a look at what's really going on in the Strait of Hormuz right now. All right, so the Strait of Hormuz, as we know it, okay, of course, you have Iran to the north, then you have the UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, all of our Gulf allies that come across here. And what is the big problem with the Strait of Hormuz? Well, what has happened is that Iran dropped tons of sea mines all the way through the main part of the Strait of Hormuz here. This is completely shut off for the most part for all ships. What does that then mean? Well, there is actually only one small channel for all these oil tankers to come through. That's here. All of these tankers are required to now pass right through this tiny little channel that is right off the coast of Iran, which again, anytime the West and its allies has tried to push oil tankers through here, they've been attacked and destroyed by Iran. So what has that done? Well, it's made it so the United States Navy can't actually do anything to help escort any of these oil tankers through. But what it is allowing is for all of Iran's allies to go ahead and let oil through their pass here. So China, Russia, all of Iran's allies are continuing to have free flow of oil while the United States and the Western world is completely shut off. Now, economically, we're all very, very well aware of what that means, right? We can all go down to the gas station and see for ourselves here in Oregon.
I'm actually curious. Can you guys put what your gas is near you? Like maybe even to like how much it's increased recently? I'm just curious because I know it's so different everywhere. And I don't recall where he is. I think he's
I don't
over.
remember.
Is he over on the West Coast? I think he's somewhere in that direction. I know for me, it's gone up. I would say it was at like $2.89 before everything started, and now it's pushing $3.70. So it's gone up almost $1 for me here.
Yeah, where are you guys?
So
Pick your
almost
states too, if you can.
yeah. I'm in New Hampshire, New England area, upper east.
Wow, from
Northeast.
219. So
Yeah,
right
it's
now,
crazy.
mine went up at least $1, and I'm in the Carolinas. So,
Yeah,
and I buy
pushing
premium,
$1.
so I have to get premium gas for my car.
Gross.
I know. That was silly. You're in Florida. Okay, yeah. Wow, 219 was dope though for you. Go off.
Dude,
That would have been nice.
I know.
love
I
my
always think about when
219
I
on a car.
started driving. Oh my God.
I
should
lived in
get-
Illinois when I started driving, so gas always kind of sucked. Chicago always made it so everything was 100 times more expensive. Okay, slow
Now I
burn.
need to know.
Slow burn, Illinois always gets spent. Actually, 280 is not bad for Illinois. It's 390 in Southern Illinois. Dang. I think Nate is in Oregon. That's weird. I did not
So
think
yeah,
of him as
gas
an
was
Oregon
like
person.
gas was like $1.10 when I got my license.
What? I
Yep.
remember though, my grandma would. This is such a sidebar, but my grandma would like put like $5 into the car, and she'd make that thing last for like
Yes.
a week.
Hell yeah, that was like half a tank. I think I could fill my tank for $10, which makes sense because it's usually approximately 10 gallons or so when you're like low, you know what I mean,
Right.
to fill it. So I'm pretty sure it was around $10 to basically fill my tank. Now
Yeah.
it's like freaking 50.
Yeah, it's I mean, some days for me it's 70 because I have I have an SUV, so
And you're getting the good stuff. But
yeah,
all right, let's keep going here.
let's do it.
Oregon gas has raised $2 a gallon from where it started
Oh, I think
just
you said
in the
Oregon
last
then.
20
Yeah.
days since the war started. That number is going to continue to climb and climb and climb. That's just for America, though. And we actually aren't as reliant as oil coming out of the Middle East as literally all of our allies, especially in Asia and Europe. So what we're really doing here is absolutely skull-fucking our allies and their economies so that even some of those countries like the United Kingdom and Japan and Korea are already doing gasoline restrictions because gas is already in such a big
Gasoline
shortage because of
restrictions,
it. And I'll
dude.
show you why. Okay, so let's look at the actual supply chains of oil and how they work here. So you can see up here, Strait of Hormuz completely shut down. We know about 20 to 25% of the world's oil comes out of here. And by worlds, we mean the vast majority of the Asian world. But that 20% is a little bit misrepresented because we need to understand where the majority of that 20% is going, and to our allies, China, etc. And as it comes out of here, the Strait of Hormuz, as you can see, it is very, very close to places like Pakistan, India, then travels to the southern portion of India and goes through what's called the Strait of Malacca. So again, as it's left, the Strait of Hormuz out here hits Pakistan, India, comes through, and that oil supplies Bangladesh, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Australia, the Philippines, comes up through the South China Sea, goes through the Strait of Taiwan, obviously, then supplies Taiwan, Japan, Korea, and China as well. So again, this is going to massively affect what our allies are going to do. If we look at this, you can see like close allies like Japan, 70% of Japan's total oil imports pass through the Strait of Hormuz. 95% of its oil comes from the Middle East, specifically Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Kuwait. And the only route out, Strait of Hormuz. And the same goes for pretty much all of our Asian allies. Why is that a big deal? Well, again, China's vessels are still flowing through, so they're not being negatively impacted at all, but our allies like Taiwan and Japan and Korea are getting absolutely fucked. And what do you think they're going to do eventually?
This part I think is probably like the most important that he's going to reference here. So definitely if you're half listening, I'd pay attention.
Well, if I had to guess, they're not going to join the war because they've already said no, but Iran has now offered an out to U.S. allies. And this is where the future of the world could drastically change after this conflict. This is the most impactful thing that's happening in the war. And if nobody's told you about this, then you should stop watching their media channels. And this was as of about 3 days ago when Iran announced that it was willing to open the strait to U.S. allies on one condition, that they buy oil in the Chinese yuan. 12 nations agreed within 48 hours. Yesterday, this was confirmed as India has now been the first U.S. ally that is now shipping oil out of the Strait of Hormuz after purchasing it in the Chinese yuan, not the U.S. petrodollar. So again, this is massive and should be alarming to every American. And why is that? Well, if you know anything about how America's power actually is held on the global stage, it is because oil is sold in the U.S. dollar, the petrodollar. And then also, the United States dollar is the world reserve currency. And when you see things like BRICS, that is obviously a push and move away from the world using the US petrodollar. What this is doing is massively ramping up the incentives for our own allies, especially in Asia, to abandon the United States and join into BRICS because they don't want their countries to collapse. They have to have oil. And so what they're...
That's the thing too. I mean, like, it feels shitty to think about, but it's like, if we were one of those countries that had the ability to take advantage of that, would we want them to decline? You know, like, their people are suffering. You know what I mean? Like,
a lot of people believe this was intentional by Israel so we could weaken our dollar and people would move off of our petrodollar and would move into a different superpowers dollar system is the easiest way to put it, because Iran was another one who ran all of their oil. They ran their oil payments in a different way. So some of it was on the petrodollar, but some was in Iran currency and then in other currency buckets, which is a lot of the reasons why we're most likely in this war right now, because they were trying to get them to basically bomb our military assets, which they've done, to weaken us, make us look bad. And then eventually, make it so they won't be on our dollar anymore. So anyway, just high level, like the money that what he's talking about right here is extremely important. Where people get their oil supply obviously matters, but how they pay for it runs the world's economy. And right now we're the leading dollar system, but when all of this goes down, it's going to, first of all, make us look weak. So move people off of our dollar system, move them onto a different dollar system, make alliances different within the region. So right now we have all of these different countries that are allies of us. Well, Iran just bombed them all. And so it, first of all, makes us look bad because we couldn't help our people that were already there. We were already just trying to defend Israel. And so then they're going to want to ally with a bigger power like China to destabilize that region, get us out of the Middle East. Israel then can start to become a superpower because they don't want us actually in the Middle East. They don't want us to actually defend them because we, for a long time, still held them back from trying to go into all these other countries. Well,
yeah, I feel like it's safe to say they don't actually like us. So anybody who
they don't
thinks
like
they do, it's like, come on, they don't like us.
Yes, exactly. What Zero says right here. They have executed a successful
100%.
plan to turn our country into gold before. So like they have slowly siphoned all of our money out. They have slowly, made it so we look ridiculous to the Middle East. Whether we need to be in the Middle East or not is up for debate, but it does show our power. So if we're not powerful in the region, then no one's going to want to operate under our petrodollar, which implicates economic decline for us. So I've heard this. Supposedly this was a plan to get us out of the Federal Reserve, or originally before the war. I've heard that. I've also heard something else about that, where it almost seemed like it was to drain us of all of our resources. And then once they basically sucked us dry, they're moving to another country and trying to implement their usury system in that new country. So, but it would be interesting.
They're playing it very smart. I mean, they're utilizing drones that cost them pennies in comparison to the stuff that we use to make, and they're using that to destroy, our capabilities. And they can just keep remaking these things, and we're blowing so much money every time we make a move, and it's pathetic.
Well, yeah, we get more and more in debt with these wars to the bankers.
Yeah, we already were bad off.
Yeah, it drives pricing and inflation issues. And then slowly they'll just weaken our economy so much. Our greatest ally will not want to be our ally anymore, as if we really want that.
As
but
if they really wanted that.
They will move somewhere else, and our dollar will then deflate, and we will have less buying power than we already do. So, yeah, I think he did a really good job, and it kind of helps explain also why it's
I like the visual of it too. I just think it's good to see, because I haven't seen anybody do something like that where you can visually see like how it's laid out, why it doesn't work, what's actually happening. And the other thing I think he goes on to say, and I pulled it because we watched plenty. You can definitely go watch it on the channel. I suggest watching especially his stuff covering this stuff, because he's clearly someone who has the knowledge, whether you dislike or like how he handles his lives or whatever. He gives a lot of great information. But he went on to essentially say like what would happen anyway if they decided to say, fine, we'll open it to you, or whatever. But I forget I don't know. Go watch it. It's worth it. But yeah. I just thought, oh man, I had seen it too, like multiple days back, but forgot. And I was like, oh, I should pull that one up because I remember.
That's great. I thought that was a great one. And it does explain kind of the situation we're in. Another problem that I'm seeing out in the Middle East is, we're bombing people's like water reserves, and that's a crime against humanity, in my opinion, because
it's serious.
This affects civilians. So that also makes us look like we basically do warfare.
Don't care about life in general.
Yeah, it lowers our moral standard in the world. We used to go under a Christian morality, so people would, try and go under that umbrella. You can't say that stuff anymore. When you support a genocidal ally, you support, the school children bombing, you support all of these, atrocities that are happening currently in the war. They just expanded into Lebanon even more. For what reason? We don't know. Besides to just take over and have more land. So that should be stopped, and we're not. So I don't know. I think
I thought it was important too, because like he said, I haven't seen anybody really talking about that too much, like really at all. But I also feel like they've obviously intentionally set it up for people to be arguing about bullshit from years and years and years ago. And that's why anyone right now who's arguing for this whole situation, they're arguing on it for shit that happened 30 plus years ago, and just like stuff we've been told, like, oh, these people will hate you forever, or like that we're just being told information. That's what you're supposed to believe and think about and feel, but don't pay attention to any of this stuff. And I was like glad that he's bringing this stuff up, because this is the stuff that matters. This is why, whether you feel that way or not, we should care a lot more about it, because of the fact that this is what it's heading to,
Yeah, I think, and I agree with this. They definitely want some terrorist retaliation. And the other thing is that it might be better for us to get out of the Middle East. So I wouldn't say it's a bad thing for us to leave, but it's the manner in which we're leaving is the problem. Because we spend so many, billions of dollars over there that is just really unnecessary for us. I mean, I'm personally of the mindset, stay in our hemisphere. Our founders wanted us to stay in our own lane. They didn't see us being like some big empire that we are now. So I don't know that this is the way to go about it, though, because now we've made even more enemies. And kind of like you were saying, they are people that remember this stuff. Like, and we haven't had a major war like this on our homeland, whereas it would be different if it was coming on your homeland. These are foreigners, people that say they're of a Christian nationality, and then that gives you a bad name for that country's, their land. They're going to think these people are all bad, right? Just like we've been taught certain other people are all
Right.
bad. It does not give us a good look, even though most Americans don't actually want this war. So I think that's another thing to remember is that they will remember this for a long time. We will not be able to make allies the way we should have. There's no reason we shouldn't be allies with a country like Russia, besides the fact that our greatest ally doesn't like Russia.
Yeah.
And things like that. So like we don't even ally with the people we actually should be. Whereas, now we're in another Middle East conflict. They're going to remember this forever. We're going to be their enemies forever when we don't even really need to be there. Like, get us out of there. 0. Do you think there's any correlation the creation of the Board of Peace was foreshadowing the U.S. getting kicked out of the UN for this move on Iran? I always feel like that everything they say is the opposite. Because if you looked at who was on the Board of
I
Peace,
feel like there's always a twist to it.
then they went
That's-
into war. Oh, let's see this. Yeah, but the UN is corrupt to the core and finished anyway. The Board of Peace looks even worse. They all suck. Think about all of these government things where
They're
they get
just
together.
a bunch of clubhouses for.
They're just trying to figure out how they can make the bankers more money in these things.
And how they can keep control after they're not in control.
Yes. Yeah, I personally believe all of this is to get us under a one world government Zionist plan. So, I think that's the long term. It's just how they're going to go about it. UN is super corrupt. They're all corrupt. World Economic Forum, Bilderberg Group, all of these people that all of these people that meet up and talk about how the world should go when we have literally no say in it. It's just disgusting work.
I mean, they're all corrupt because that's the only way you can get up to the top. So anyone up there is already corrupt. You can't get there without it.
And they've most likely been in, like, at this point, you can think about the Epstein files and how they talk about bloodlines. They've all absolutely been part of this club.
Have you seen that video? There was
Which
a girl
one?
who did a family tree. I think a high school student did a family tree type thing for all of the US presidents, and they were all related in some way, some distant cousins or whatever. Definitely interesting.
Yeah, I
stumbled
have
across
actually
that
seen
recently.
that. Yeah, and that's how it is. These are the UN covers up for rapes by its members every year, but they have diplomatic immunity. A whistleblower exposed it. I believe that. Just like they do covert operations under, certain immunities, right? If you hire a contractor, just weird stuff in the intelligence agencies, they always have loopholes, right? They have loopholes.
Well, that's what happened, right, with CIA when it started. When the CIA started, it was there to be like a middleman for the other departments and the president so that they could filter out the important information and get the important information to the president. And then after the war had ended, they were like, we don't really need this anymore. And right after World War II is when the CIA was deemed essentially like a non-governmental thing, but they could still practice and do their own projects and stuff. But they were specifically classified as a group of individuals who could work outside of regular laws. Like it specifies on the CIA website that the CIA, when it split away from its initial cause, was allowed to perform things they deemed they wanted to do, even though prior it was essentially just by, presidential, whatever he decided or whatever. And after that, they were allowed to then spawn off and do their own projects and research and whatever, but they also specifically didn't have to stay within governmental regulations. So they are essentially just free to do whatever they want with no repercussions. And that's when we see all these other things starting, like the MK Ultra and all that, because nobody's fucking watching them anymore at this point. You're basically free to do whatever you want with no retaliation, so
right.
It's like they created this
remember,
little monster of a group.
Yeah, and Charlie Kirk was on a interview, and it was such a great interview, and I think we should cover it at some point, where he actually talks about how these CIA, FBI, which is ironic, knowing, the FBI basically covered up this, in my opinion, case. But how they have control over a lot more of the government than they should. He said the president does not have the final say. This is someone who worked closely with President Trump in his first term, and he's coming out and saying, like, it's kind of just a puppet. He's like, he's basically an actor. That's literally what he says. And I think he was right on the money.
Just like
about
a face for the country. Like, that's it.
Just a face. Which is scary. I'm actually surprised more whistleblowers don't come forward from that type of stuff. But I think when you get so far up there, like we talked about, you're just so corrupt. Like, you don't have any.
Once you get high enough up there, you're essentially one of them. So your perceptions change, your reality is distorted, like whatever. There's so many things. It's basically its own little version of MK Ultra. You're starting here in every incremental, raise or promotion, and you're getting more and more contorted into what they want you to be when you get to the top. And you're only getting up there if you're looking like they want you to. You know what I mean?
Right. You're doing what they say.
Right.
Yeah, I totally agree. Is there anything else on that one you wanted to? Oh, let's read this. The OSS was pre-CIA. Bush Sr. was CIA director before he became president. That MF is the one who signed Education Day into law. Yeah, that Bush family is shady. The Noah Hyde laws. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, all that stuff is crazy. The Bush family is actually quite the deep dive. Similar to the Clintons, they have lots of stuff going on there. They look like they're just a bunch of, like, I don't know, Southern folks, and nope, and all the all the secret societies and stuff. Every president since I signed up. Yep, on the Noah Hyde laws. Totally agree. Yeah, the Jeannie thing where she said she's related to a lot of them. That's pretty cool. I'm not related to anybody like that. I'm just a regular old Joe.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
I don't know if I am, but I don't think I am.
No, I have I don't even know half of my family. My dad was adopted, so I mean, we're just living la vida.
You're already part of yours already in the dark.
Yeah, we don't even know. He thought Trump. Oh, really? Yeah.
I don't know. In 2017, he was really kissing that wall, so I don't know.
Well, and the fact that he was literally like, I don't know that I'm going to heaven. We're all like, whoa, bro.
I feel like, and he said that, and now I feel like we're just seeing like the response to what's his face dying. Like, I get you didn't like the dude. I get you have beef, but maybe look a little more professional in your fucking posts.
Wait, who? Like, which one who's the dude?
What's his face who died?
Ayatollah?
No.
I'm not
gonna be able to think of his name. I sent it in Discord. Robert Mueller.
Oh, okay. Well, even when Charlie Kirk died, he was like, and the ballroom. Bro.
Yeah, but did you see his post about
in the Dow? I'll say shit.
Hold on.
I was hoodwinked by you know what? That's okay, Crystal. I think many people were. I think what the unfortunate thing was is it woke up a lot of people. Like, a lot of people decided, like, I'm not left or right. I just literally want people who speak the truth, have similar values. Let's see, Ben Shapiro thinks Jesus was a Democrat. I did not see that. No, he did not. The ballroom. No. Literally.
Ballroom, okay. That's a good one.
Trump converted Judaism in 2017. The Jerusalem Post and True News reported on it. Isn't that so crazy that mainstream media didn't, though? And they had to know because they're under the same control. Okay, Jeannie said, I will share in Discord with y'all sometime. Yes, we both had family on the Mayflower, etc. That's why I think some were Freemasons. Yeah, they actually say that Alexander Hamilton was like a secret what word am I going to use for this? Juice box. And he came in and was trying to get us to go under the banking control from the very beginning. So just some fun facts there. I must insist that we henceforth refer to the president as our Lord and Savior, Donald J. Trump.
I just pulled up his truth social post on it. If you want to share. Yeah.
Let me
just because it's so eloquent.
I can't see it.
It says, Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. President Donald J. Trump. That's it. Good. I'm
love
glad.
and compassion. With peace and love, he sent
With
him.
peace and love.
With peace and love,
Listen, I'm
bro.
not sitting here trying to be like, this dude was the best guy ever, but just like stop making yourself look like such a piece of shit. That's all I'm saying.
Robert Mueller, friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Trump leased his name to the Jays like in Atlantic City. Stop it.
Is he gonna
Agreed.
bankrupt
Okay,
them
I
then?
should have
Maybe
said the
that's his
Jays.
plan.
Yeah, Alexander Hamilton was
The
from the
Jays.
Jays. I love that. LOL. Graphic. Oh, Greg. Jeannie, you're throwing me off here. A White House insider also leaked it, but said Trump didn't want it made public because he would lose his base. Well, duh. Well, do you remember what Mark Levin literally was like, it's our first J president? And I was looking around like, holy, is he? Still didn't look it up.
I don't know. I feel like he could shit on the hood of some of these MAGA people's cars and they'd be like, thanks.
It's part of the plan.
It's his. I'm so excited.
Yes, they would.
He
they
chose
would-
my car.
Jay, I'm just giving you crap. You'll be here all week. Great. We want to see you. Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to talk about UFO stuff and all the weird
Do I
patterns
want to? What
lately?
kind of question is that? Of
I
course
know.
do.
Okay, so I'm actually gonna read, guys. Normally I just talk here, but I'm gonna read it because it's like so extensive. So if I'm looking this way, that's why, and then we can talk about it. But a series of high-profile disappearance and deaths has drawn attention to the UFO communities. They were linked to sensitive U.S. defense and aerospace work, planetary defense sensors, and programs at AFB. So what's happened is there's a bunch of people that have gone missing or deceased in the UFO world. I'm just going to say that, and we're going to go through them. So on June 22nd, 2025, Monica Riza, she was 60. She was an aerospace engineer, and she's a co-inventor of Mandalloy, which is a super alloy for the U.S. rocket engines, funded and overseen by AFRL, and she was with McCasland, the guy you talked about.
Yeah.
She vanished while hiking in the Angeles National Forest in California. She was last seen waving to a companion on the ridgeline, and there was a massive search, and no one found her. So she's our first missing.
See, and I find that interesting because he was supposedly hiking too, and left like everything at home.
There's actually been a couple more people like that.
Even his prescription glasses, like, get out of my face with that.
Why are people... Don't go hiking, guys, if you work for the government. I'm just going to say
seriously.
Don't go hiking. Okay, so we've got June 22nd, 2025. Listen to this one. June 26th, 2025, 4 days later. Melissa Casillas, she was 53, an admin assistant, and she was on the DOE advisory board on nuclear waste. She vanished in the Teos Rancheros area in New Mexico. She drove her husband to LANL, returned home claiming she forgot her badge, and delivered lunch to her daughter. She was last seen walking towards Carson National Forest, another hiking incident. And her phones were reset, her belongings were left at home, and no breakthroughs were reported.
Her belongings left at home.
4 days later, right? That's crazy.
Did she have medically diagnosed mental fog too?
Right? Did she have a diabetes attack? Who knows with these people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Had too much caffeine that morning or something.
Right.
For Christ's sake.
What time of day? 2:15 p.m. By the way, Jeannie. And then October. So we've got a couple months in between. October 24/25th of 2025. There was a triple incident in Ohio. So Lieutenant Jamie Gastulis, working for the AFL, Jamie Pritchard they were 33 and they were working in finance for this department. Jacob Pritchard, also working for AFL. There was a double murder suicide where Jacob killed his wife Jamie, so one of the people, and then himself with no confirmed motive. All of these people part of the UFO AFL space. Okay. What do these people know? We're going to get into our questions later, but I'm just going to give you guys the timeline. February 16th, 2026, Carl, who is a Caltech IPAC astrophysicist, and he did infrared data for NASA. And he did asteroid detection, dual use missile tech, so all within a similar space. He was fatally shot on his porch in California at his desert home. There was a suspect, and he's 29, named Freddie Snyder, charged for prior trespass, arrest on the property. So there is a suspect in that one. So they're not some missing person, and it's not some murder-suicide pact. But then February 27th of 2026, this is your guy, William Neal McCasland. He's an ex-AFRL, so common theme, ex-AFRL, just to point that out there. He was a commander at the Wright-Patterson/Kirtland, and then he has the UFO ties post-retirement. So he vanished from Albuquerque home in broad daylight. He left his phone, glasses, wearables, took his wallet, no confirmed sighting, and despite searches and FBI involvement. And then, like Rogue said, mental fog noted prior. So let's look at the threads connecting them, and then we can get into the rest. So the institutional ties. So AFRL funding chains. So they all were part of this chain. So McCasland commanded the program's funding Riza's Alloy, who's another one of the dead folks. And then the last name Grillmare, who's another one of them. Infrared work overlaps with the AFRL sensors. So all of these people work in a similar connecting place, probably had some sort of contact at some point, or at least knew people who knew people. So within the industry. And then, so Los Alamos shares New Mexico Defense Corridor with Kirtland/McCasland. So these people all are within a similar region as well. Sorry, am I missing anything in the chat? Oh, wait. The UFO thing is
a lot of it's just banter.
Okay, perf. So another thread connecting all these people is the tech focus. So advanced aerospace/rocket materials, the infrared planetary defense sensors, human performance sensors. So a lot of tech work happened in this space, and those people who knew how the tech works, they were taken out as of in 2025, 2026. So more threads tying them together. And then obviously the UFO angle. So that kind of revives the lore behind like Roswell rumors, things like that. So these disappearances kind of fuel speculation about classified UFO knowledge, but authorities state no evidence of foul play or links for some of these. So we all know that is, up for debate. So I kind of was asking myself, like, what kind of questions do I have after hearing all these? So one of them is, why is there no trace/video in broad daylight in some of these cases?
When we have cameras everywhere.
When we have cameras everywhere. I would suspect foul play with these, but they're not, right? And like you were saying,
I agree.
Not deep, like mainstream media coverage. You had heard about the McCasland guy. No one was covering this, and none of these people I've heard of. I literally,
and it had already been almost 2 weeks. I compared it to the Nancy Guthrie thing, because to me, and I'm not trying to like say one human life is more important than the other, but if we're talking about the importance to like national security, he literally is important to national security, whereas like she's someone's mom. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying the difference is like, why are you so quiet about this dude? It's speaking volumes that you're so quiet. You know?
Right. Well, and any of these people, I hadn't heard about any of these people. And then you realize they're all within the same space. Like Carl right before McCasland, like they literally were back to back. Didn't ever hear of him. He's Caltech, which is pretty big. NASA, like none of these people are coming up in our mainstream news, which tells me, why are we getting rid of these people? And then another one is like, if there's no foul play evidence in the vanishings, why, like, how did these people just go missing on a hike? Like that happens sometimes, but it feels like there's several of these, in these national parks or whatever.
Missing the 411 stuff is
that
wild.
is so crazy.
Yes.
Okay, let's post this up. now it makes me wonder if the dad, Guthrie or Nancy, what they did was a living. Like for a living, Jeannie?
I
Clarify
assume
that
that's
for
what you
me.
meant.
Whoa.
Yeah, like if there was something more to them.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of wonder too, because remember she tried to predict that girl her mom's death in a book, that or her kidnapping. That's weird. So I guess this is also kind of implicates like what's going on in the
I found
defense
what I was
side?
looking for.
Yeah.
So his wife, General McCasland's wife, had come out and she had specified that he did not, I've said this before, but he didn't have any mental diminishment. Like he was perfectly fine mentally. He was perfectly fine physically. And then, of course, they're trying to say he has this mental fog, but she did have a weird post, and I want to share it to see your opinions on it.
Yeah.
So she had obviously made the post where I had stated that she was trying to clarify that, there were multiple media sources claiming that he had diminished capacities and he didn't. And she made that post. But she also said this. Tell me what you think of this. She
Okay.
said, though at this point, with absolutely no sign of him, maybe the best hypothesis is that aliens beamed him up to the mothership. However, no sightings of a mothership hovering above Sandina Mountains have been reported.
Okay, weird that she just said this, but this seems more government than aliens beaming up. Exactly how I
I'm
felt.
just
I
like,
thought this was a
if
government
your
thing.
husband is missing, the man that you love, why are you making like a weird joke about it?
It's giving Erica Kirk.
Isn't that weird?
Amber Heard, Erica
He's
Kirk
like, I
vibes
don't know,
again.
maybe he was beamed up by an alien mothership, I guess. I would be like, whatever. You can go with whatever theory you want, just find my freaking husband. You know what I mean? If you think it was aliens, great. Where do you think they are? Can we go look so we can find him? Like,
They
it's
wouldn't
so
return
weird
him.
to me that you would make a weird joke like that about your husband who's been missing for weeks now in the elements without any of his things that he needs to live.
Right.
And that's just like a ha funny. Maybe he got picked up by aliens. Is it just me that feels like that's freaking wild to say? And she posted it on Facebook.
Well, what I also find weird is like a lot of these people are in the tech side of this, and it makes me wonder if they either have knowledge of alien technology or technology that could simulate alien technology to make people believe aliens were real.
Project Bluebeam. Well,
Exactly.
I mean, and like I had said before, he specifically worked for departments that handled like weapons transportation, and we're in the middle of like this war. So that to me also makes me wonder if there's, but the only thing that makes me pause there is just the fact that he's not the most recent person in that position. So it would really, I think, boil down to what kind of relationships did he have with people in the government still to this day, and why would they be concerned with his knowledge versus the people who were there after him and are no longer there, or you know what I mean? Like so I don't know, but I definitely think it's suspicious, obviously. I mean, when you're talking about a group of people who all worked within the same area and all of these incidences went in a short period of time, I mean, a pretty short period of time, how many people do you know personally? I always relate it to that. Within your company, maybe you work for like a big company. How many people do you know within your company went missing? Have you ever worked I've worked in a company with hundreds and hundreds
I
of
have
people.
too.
Never once heard of one of them going missing in the woods or murder suicide with their spouse. Like these are not just things that just happen, but with this group of people, they were all connected in some way and all these things have happened.
Yeah, and it
I
doesn't make
mean,
any
I could
sense.
ask Chat GPT, what are the odds of that? You know what I mean? I'm sure the
Yes.
odds are pretty freaking
I
slim.
almost did because I was like, I'm gonna
That's what
just
I did when I was looking into the spouses that set up their spouse's murder with someone else, like particularly the women. But I had done like what are the odds of, or how many,
Mhm.
because I feel like we don't think about that sometimes. We get fed so much stuff through media that we're seeing all the time, and we forget how uncommon it is in your day-to-day life. We see it all the time on the TV screen and on the computer screen and on our phone screens. So it feels very normal. But when you step outside of it and think about your actual environment, the places you go on a regular basis, and the people you know and see, how many times do these situations happen in those groups? Freaking never. So
Right.
what's going on?
Yes, I agree. And I also, Paul, yes, what you said. They've received over 7,000 patents for national security. it's kind of ridiculous, honestly. Even if you just think about energy, right? We know they seized a ton of patents just for free energy, let alone what we know for military tech, anything like that. Like, I'm just saying, that's what the government does. Shoot, that reminds me. I want to share.
Yeah, I was gonna do a whole. I have a whole pre-written out episode for my previous podcast on the incident with Fire in the Sky with Travis Walton is the story of Travis Walton. I remember that movie scared the crap out of me when I was little.
I've never seen it.
It's old. It's old, but it's based off of Travis Walton. It's a crazy story, honestly. It's cool. It's very interesting. And like the location where it happened too, like for anybody who knows it, like they still can go there and detect radiation in the wooded area that it all happened in. Like it's just crazy. The whole thing was crazy.
Project Bluebeam is the new Palantir artificial intelligence. I agree. And why there's so many problems with Palantir. You know what someone brought up, and this is a little bit off topic, but I think it was Barron, how he was talking about how they can tap into all of our traffic lights and surveil us that way. And and I think, or the traffic camera, sorry, not the lights. And I feel like there's just those, I think when you were growing up, you remember seeing cameras starting to go up. And you were like, this is kind of creepy, right? And then you get Snapchat and everyone knows like you're in the background of people's snaps all the time. So we've been slowly conditioned now to be in a surveillance state. And like, since I don't have some of that social media stuff anymore, it actually creeps me out when I feel like I'm in someone's stuff. But a lot of people aren't. They don't mind being surveilled. They don't think anything's going, like they're doing anything wrong. And Palantir, obviously, I feel like benefits from that, from all of our conditioning that we've done in the past 10 years, 15 years to get us all into a surveillance state. And that's a big concern for me. Okay, let's read this one. AFRL is $7 billion portfolio leading force intel and EMPs. Isn't that funny? EMPs, that's familiar territory, Miss Lori Fronsby. Yeah, and honestly, a lot of these people were connected with them, and they're going missing, or dead. Rogue, you ever gone up to
I haven't
Betty?
gone up. I haven't gone up to it. Like I said before, I know they lived like two houses down from my husband's family. And they always said they were really sweet. I think they had like chickens or something. And so, but I've never gone up that way. It was in like Lancaster.
Wait, tell the viewers, what are you talking about?
New Hampshire. The Betty and Barney Hill incident, the first like majorly publicized alien abduction. The couple that was they were like a interracial couple in the 60s, and it was the first real UFO abduction story that kind of went national, maybe even global at the time. And they had gone under like hypnosis after the fact to try to recall like what they believed happened. And, it's really interesting. They were just driving on the road in New Hampshire at night, and like it's a whole thing, but they like their clocks weren't working on their cars. There was a weird thing following them, and then they lose time like multiple hours, and they don't know what happened. They just like their time was completely off by multiple hours. But it's a really interesting
that's a dig
story.
I like this one. I've been having with my hubby. He kept saying we've been surveilled for years. It's like kept pushing and saying, and why do we have to be okay with that? That's how I feel. Actually, it makes the case for wearing like one of those wraps around your head. Like I considered that. I was like, I might just buy one of those before, like, because I don't want my face everywhere.
We were all arguing the freaking face masks.
Yes. And now I'm over here like I want like something to cover myself.
Well, you could wear one of those. People will judge you, but you'll know the truth.
Yeah. Well,
well, I'm just hiding from the powers that be.
Well, back in the day, Christians wore veils too. So I'm like, I'll just bring a veil up. I'll bring it back in because I just don't want to be surveilled. I mean, honestly. In England, they were trying to roll out traffic cams that can ID you in your car facial. Exactly. They're trying to do that.
Well, they can definitely do that here. Like if you drive ever on the highway and you have to go through the toll booths, and you go from one toll booth and get to the next one within a certain period of time, you'll get a ticket in the mail. They'll be like, you got from this one to that one too quickly, and they'll send it to your house.
Yeah, so they can already pretty much do it. Yes,
they're
he did.
already, yeah.
Dings did a great surveillance video. I watched that.
He's great at that stuff. That's so up his alley. He's so good at it.
He is. I actually sent him
He
something.
covers the geofencing stuff really well. So if you're wanting information about that.
Yeah, I agree. Well, and it's all important because it's just they're slowly the thing is, no one voted on this stuff. Did you vote on having surveillance? Like
your real
tech?
ID? I had no choice.
We didn't have any choice in this stuff. And so that's just how you know our government is so far ahead of the people's wishes, and they don't even make a case
been
for
in
it
place
anymore.
for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh. This is horrible. Did you see what I saw this, Paul? I'm not gonna read this one. You guys can read it on the screen. I saw that they are using the bodies to heat hospitals now in that region. So I don't know if you saw that, but that made
You
me
heard
sick.
about that weird ass place wasn't it in Arizona too? The weird place that was using people's bodies that had been donated for science or whatever. Did you hear about that? And they were finding just them basically crazy ass projects of them trying to put different parts together and like sewing
No.
like arms to arms and like fucking wild shit. Yeah. It was a whole like warehouse of body parts and stuff that was found.
Wow.
And it was like people who were donated for scientific purposes, but they're just like using them like test, like just cut them up and put like Frankenstein shit.
These people are sick. And on top of that, our greatest ally has like the biggest organ donation place like of all time, and they're this tiny little state. That's weird.
Well, and you know what? Like I'm set as my thing is an organ donor, and I've thought before about taking it off, but I'm like, but if it was used for what I wanted it to be used for, I would like let it.
I'm just putting this up here for
I'm
us to
telling
read.
you, yes. There's some crazy stuff, dude.
It's so nasty. Well, these people are part of the elites, as I'll just say. You can guess where they're from. Because that's what they do. They have been doing this for so long. Okay, I think Canada just got rid of the waiting period for assisted unaliving. That could cause a huge problem. I think the problem is that people have completely lost like the worth of a human being. People don't think human beings are worth anything anymore. They don't think people have souls. They just disregard what it means to be a human being. And that's why they're pushing all of this stuff through, because they've basically devalued just being a human being, which most people think being a human being has intrinsic worth. But things have gotten so progressive that people actually don't believe that anymore. And then another thing is, people also don't like kids anymore. I don't know if you've ever gone anywhere with a child, but they hate them. Anytime they make a noise, people look at you funny. And that was designed on purpose, right? And so is there any surprise that whenever you think about the rate of the unaliving of smaller people, that this has gone up? Because they've totally devalued the meaning of children, family, someone's soul, what it means to be a human being. All of that stuff has been just completely erased. And we don't ever actually recognize what being a human means. It's just, you're just a number, a tally, a mouth to feed. People who run the government they don't actually care for people.
So Biological Resource Center in Arizona, color me shocked. Arizona is always where things seem to come up lately. A raid on a Phoenix body broker revealed buckets of heads, arms, and legs and dismembered body parts sold for profit, with ongoing lawsuits through 2019 to 2026. Cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I agree, Marie. I also think it's the Zio agenda. They fall under the same thing. Just basically population control, surveillance state, world order stuff. It's what you learned in college. Exactly. And I actually just learned, Crystal, when we got pretty radical in actually the 70s. So our college has changed from having a pretty decent split of like progressive versus conservative professors, and then 60s and 70s more progressive people started infiltrating the colleges, and now at this point that's pretty much the only people who work there.
There's that one professor that's been going viral over the last like year or so.
Yang?
Have you seen him? He's like super based. He's like a older dude with gray hair, and he's always, and like, I think he's got like a goatee maybe, and he's just always conversing and asking the students, like, if this were the scenario, what would your opinion be? And what do you think the statistics are? And they're always not what they think. And it's so awesome to watch him. We need so many more professors like that, dude. I'll have to figure out what his name is.
You can just pass a law that so white helmets can take kids without the parents' consent. They are also trying. Anyone surprised? They're the biggest traffic coordination place in the world. I mean, there's a reason. There's a reason Russia wanted some of their land back, as people lived there that had more Russian ideals. Yeah, that place is the most. I think it's maybe the most corrupt place in the world. It's up there with our greatest ally. Okay. Midwives in Canada learned that S is a spec. Yeah, which has been totally debunked. I've been saying I think they are doing all this so they can start marrying our babies. Oh, Jeannie. That's a hot take. That is a hot take and disgusting. Okay. Well, that law in California when anyone can go and pick up your kid from school. Yeah, once again, I don't think they value children at all. And they've obviously debased the family, made it so parents have less rights. So that's why we've got here, guys. It's just like, when Candace says take your kids out of school, I really debate that because I think it's how you protect them at this point. I don't think I need some educator to literally tell me when my kid is or is not sick and he only has like 10 sick days. It's like he's been sick for half the year because of all the people there. Yeah, they are trying to normalize minor attracted person. It's disgusting. Well, that's because we're now in a very progressive society, and anyone who pushes the progressive agenda, it goes back a very long time, and that's what their societies did in secret. It's all under the Zio agenda, so I'm not even surprised. Don't get you started. I won't, Jeannie, because then I'll get started, girl. You know I will. Sorry, Rogue. I'm going on a rant. These comments.
No, you're good. I found that guy. He's great. He's a Penn State professor.
Let's see him.
Hold on.
Rogue's frozen. We love it. This is now part of the act, guys. It's part of the bit. Rogue's frozen. We know she's looking at something. Well, I've had so many issues with my stuff. If you guys have been here a few times, like it was kicking me out for a while. But we're back to good for some reason. I don't know if they like me again or what. But yeah. The Brave New World aspect that's going on. Yeah, there's so many terms for it, but just so everyone knows, the Zio agenda has been, I'm going to just say that, has been going on for like thousands of years, actually. It's been this slow like takeover of moving from super conservative societies to progressive societies, and it's happened one by one in every country, basically. They've tied the hands of teachers too and made it easy for the wrong people to get into and exploit the industry. Half don't care if the kids learn anything in school. I believe that. So far we've had good teachers, but it's not the same as it used to be. People think adding the baby blue and pink to the pride flag was for trans, but it was for kids. Wow. I actually just learned something new, Marie. Thank you. I could see that. Haha, but her eyes are always open. Okay. Had a first grade teacher tell one of my parents that spelling doesn't matter. I run a math and reading learning center outside the school system. Had a first grade teacher tell one of my parents that spelling doesn't matter. Why wouldn't it matter? That's like pertinent. All right, Rogue, we're ready for you.
Yeah, this guy's great. I've not watched a lot of the newer stuff. I was watching this at one point in time, but I just love how he approaches stuff. So I can just play. There's one that I just saw that was about Charlie Kirk or something. So where did it go? It's this channel here, but he's got like long form stuff, but also, let's see.
This is true.
I thought I had it right in front of me. Hold on. I would like to find, there was one that was really good, and I would like it in the short form because the videos are longer. They're totally worth a watch. So if you follow this channel, I would highly suggest you follow it. Just because, let's see. Like a lot of really great topics, and there's just not a lot of people talking about it. Let me see.
Also, Marie, if you think about it,
Talk
teachers don't
amongst
make a lot of
yourselves.
money. And since they don't make that much money, and if they're single, then they're not going to have kids. And we know now that there's so many progressive teacher types and women, and then so many conservative men now. The divide is so big that we're having like a coupling problem. Like you know, people are so single for so long now, like into their 30s at that point. I'm not surprised. Yeah.
I can't find the one I was looking at originally. Let me see. Where did the one I was just pulling up go? Let's just watch that.
Today's class,
Oh, wait,
we're
this
calling
was
it Entering the
hold
Fifth
on.
Dimension, because today is the first day of my
This one. Let's see what this one is.
Hey everybody, my name's Ben. I'm an aerospace engineer. This is my first semester. I'm also prior military.
So what brought you?
Actually, this exact class. Just the way the teaching and an open forum, you'd never find this out anywhere else.
You said you were on base or something?
Yeah, I was doing a shift change between maintenance crews, and we have a big TV in the shop, and so what do we want to watch? We usually put something up. It's usually like a funny video or something. Oh, let's throw this class up. And it was the Charlie Kirk one. And everybody just kind of quit doing what they were doing and just staring at the TV, looking around. Everybody's looking at it. It was like a big moment. Some people are crying. And then other people were like, The range, of course. I was like, you know what? I've never seen this in a college campus. And so I was like, I went to Penn State.
Oh, dude,
that's crazy.
Awesome, man. This class is inspired by an email that you sent when you said something about it'd be really interesting to ask students how they would address the current situation on racism. Can you say more about that? How you got to the question?
This question came up on when we had the first panel and person over here. Called him Team Black. Sorry.
Team Black. Yes.
And everybody was skirting around the racism and the discrimination. I had the feeling you were trying to get towards how it affected them or how they perceived themselves in society.
Or how they thought about it.
Right. Being in that situation myself in Japan, they're just blatantly racist. You don't speak our language. No. Oh, you're an American. You can't live here. They don't have those legal defense mechanisms. Here we do. You start to ask yourself, what's the difference? How do you feel in society on the basis of race?
Depending on where you're from.
And where you are.
Right.
What I'm so appreciating right now is how humans think and how they put together ideas all the time. How students, in my view, we don't need to lead you and tell you what to think because you're thinking all the time. Giving a perfect example of in your head, you're like, these people, this country, this experience, my experience, and you're coming up with really thoughtful questions, which is what we know everybody's doing. So really happy that you're
I'm more than happy
doing
to share.
that. And we also know that if we could hear what every single person in here is actually thinking, we'd all be smarter.
He had some really great ones when a whole lot of the racial divide stuff was going on, and I really wanted to find them, but I don't know where they are.
Well, what is your thought on that stuff? Where do you sit with it?
On what specifically?
On the question of racial divide. Do you think we're getting too many immigrants?
What's that?
Well, racial divide can go into our immigration things, right? If you think about it, do we need more people in here? And if so, if we do, then we will have more of a racial divide.
I think our racial divide is manufactured, so it doesn't really matter where people are coming from. I just feel like it's just there because they want us to argue over this stuff. It's pushed in our face. Statistics are skewed so that we hate each other. It's the same as the left versus right. It's just another version of it.
Yeah, I think they do that, but I do think there is something about different cultures where you're raised.
Oh, for sure.
And
yeah, it's the same idea too as Iran right now. What are we going over there to force what we believe in, how we live on them? They might not want that. They might not want what they have, but it doesn't mean they want what we have either. So to act like that is just stupid. You don't walk into someone else's house and be like, you shouldn't be having that for dinner. I don't like that. What are you talking about?
Well, that's kind of what's happened to America, though, is people walk in and tell us how we're doing everything wrong. And that's how
the idea, I think, was having people come and, become accustomed to how we live here, and that was the end goal, and it's just become a whole lot of not that, you know what I mean? And I don't say like us, like you have to form to like us white European people, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that. It's just we have certain rules and certain ways of living, certain standards, and it's expected that if you're choosing to come here, you're choosing to come here so you can be part of that stuff too. So if you're choosing to come here to live the way you lived in another country, then why are you coming at all? Why wouldn't you just stay where it is, you know what I mean? Other than like safety, I get that, but you know what I'm saying?
So I like Marie's comment here. They accuse the West of being racist, but the rest of the world is much more racist. If we were more that way, we would have less people here. We'd probably, our borders were not always completely open to every country, and we actually had a lot more peace and a lot less violence than we do now. So, not that it's a racial issue, but it's more of a have we been overcrowded issue? Are these people really acclimating to our culture? We had a high trust society. And now I don't think anyone can say you have high trust. A lot of people don't even know their neighbors anymore. Whereas, back in the day, you'd know your neighbors, you know their kids, you'd let them play outside. People don't even play outside anymore. The violence rate has gone through the roofs. And certain cultures are actually being eliminated and being told they're the problem when they built the country. So I think it is a touchy subject because I don't know if it's necessarily based on race, but I do think it can be a culture issue. And if your culture is coming in and overtaking a fairly high trust society, very welcoming people, and then telling them they're the bad guys, you need to change all of your doctrines. You need to become more progressive. You need to be more understanding. But if we were to go into their countries, I mean, they wouldn't even want us there. Like a lot of Americans lately have actually been getting spit on. Violence has happened to them when they've been traveling. And most Americans wouldn't do that to people that are foreigners here. So it's definitely a double standard that I think is an issue and people don't want to talk about. They did talk about it for a long time, and eventually too many progressive voices just overshadowed people who were like, well, there's a limit to our kindness, in my opinion. I want to read this one. I took over a business I had worked on as the main assistant for 7 years from a wonderful Indian woman, but I had quite a few of the Indian families try to tell me how to run the business when I took over. Yeah. I don't think anyone likes that. No matter where you're from. We let foreigners in our town. That's a big problem. 100%. And paid foreigners, dual citizen foreigners. That's a problem.
They're almost all dual citizen with a certain country. But I also think, this is also a problem that has gotten worse with the laxity at the border and with so many people having come in all at once. You're talking about groups of individuals who have the same mindsets and live the same types of lives and are being put into a community, but their community consists of people like them because they've come over in such a large group. And, it's like whatever was happening, in Ohio, the cats and dogs shit or whatever,
well, in Minnesota, all that,
wherever it was, somewhere over there. But the point of that was that when the large groups of people can congregate and they're just moving their regular lifestyle to another location and living within their little community that's segregated from the rest of us because we've had so many people come in all at once. Whereas if we had a solid... Yeah. And if we had and then they meet other families and they all create this little community. And now they've got this community of people who live a completely different way than we do here. And if we had been doing it in the way where, it's a slow progression and people are vetted and brought in slowly and acclimated, they're not going to have such a large group of other individuals that are like, well, this is how we do things. Because it's not going to happen so quickly like that. They're going to have to get here and they'll have to see how we live and they'll have to adjust in that natural progression that would already take place if you weren't just basically relocated with your neighborhood of people into a new neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like it's not how you acclimate to a new situation.
In the Carolinas, we have whole troves of people from another country and they're like pretty recent. And they're not the people in our current government. They're actually they're being subsidized to be here. They make more money than the Americans who were first living here, and they're taking over, our communities, and it's kind of a problem because they aren't necessarily acclimated. They're getting all the perks of America, and then the Americans are basically getting ran out of houses as well. So that's a big problem. Jeannie, I do want to address this kind of. That stuff is kind of a lie. Right after World War II, that was actually when we started seeing the more shift to more progressive ideals, and anti-septicness. That word was floating around a lot more in our culture. I've done a really deep dive into this on the side. So don't trust what you hear about that. We actually kind of were infiltrated around that time. So no, but they'll tell you what they want you to hear. Okay, want to go. Most effective used against us is our fear of racism and self-protection. I think there is nothing wrong with being self-protective, no matter what your culture is, honestly. But if a country wants to start closing borders, which is a lot of people voted for Trump, just so to have some population control and figure out who's even here and try and get people
You can't
acclimated,
just
nothing wrong with it.
It doesn't mean you dislike other people or don't want other cultures. It has nothing to do with that, but it has to do with the fact that you can't it's not like we can just let any old person who shows up at the airport on any plane. There's reasons, there's regulations, because they're in charge of ensuring that the people who already live here are in the best situation they can be in. So when things are, not regulated, we're asking for trouble. What kind of person isn't going to look at that as a opportunity to come in and do shady business?
Yeah, it's so true.
Like buying up all of our farmland and buying up our businesses, and like the Chinese that are buying all the businesses in New Hampshire and Maine right now.
Yeah. And like they price us out of our own. Like, what happens when you're slowly degrading your society is one of the things you do is you don't have your own agriculture anymore. You import a lot. Your natural anything that was natural to your country at the time is basically wiped away, and that's happened to us. We import quite a bit more than we used to. Even they say fertilizer right now is like crazy expensive. It's like $620 when it was like $320 for the amount they normally buy.
China.
So we're getting priced out as well, like to do the things that are even normal for our country, which was farming, right? So we're having some major issues, and if we don't get those solved, we're going down like the Romans big time. I want to read this one. Paul, I love your stuff.
BB already compared us to the Romans, so.
Well, they don't like us like the Romans. It's the same thing. They didn't like
he
them
said
then,
the U.S. is the next Roman Empire,
and England was the one before it, and Russia was before that. It's horrible. In England, the Act of Settlement said you had to be born of 2 English parents. The British unlawfully removed that, and it's totally screwed us. Yeah, you guys have some problems too. We're all in the same. The West is under attack. Like, we don't have a Western culture anymore.
The thing is, too, a lot of the people who did immigrate to the U.S. legally and went through the extensive and super long, probably should be less so long, process of doing it the right way, they don't want the borders open either, especially because it's like people cutting in line. Like, dude, I had to go through all of that stuff to do it the right way, and you want to just walk in like, you own the place, like
Right.
Those people are probably more offended than a lot of Americans.
It's so true. I sent you, it never gets better. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if we can actually save what's going on here. They don't feel the need to learn English or even try and bring a translator when they need a service. Many expect you to provide that. Yep. That's the problem. Sorry. I'm catching up on chats.
Yeah,
Food industries too, not just everything. Everything's taken a huge hit, which is why a lot of people voted for Trump.
That's why I said China.
Yeah, China.
China.
I love that. Got to go. Bye, Marie. We actually probably should start heading out too. I know Baze and them are doing their stuff. Country the size of thanks, Zero. Fun fact, the country the size of New Jersey, America's favorite ally, was not founded until 1948. Seems like the timing line up with what ADN was referring to. It is 100% some of that stuff, and I will get into more of that. I have a bunch of series coming up, guys. I've bought like $400 worth of books at this point, so we can really dive into what happened to America, because that's basically what my channel is going to be. All my pre-made videos, I'm going to talk about what happened to us. And I'll give you a little hint. It's the Federal Reserve. It is the banking cabal. It is the influence that our greatest ally founders have on
Well,
our country. So we've
and
got lots of
September
stuff.
18th of 1947 is when the CIA became unconnected from the government. I find
Yeah,
that
and it
interesting
was
too,
all
right
around
around
that
the
time.
same time. Yeah.
And that's when our country was starting to get concerned about anti-Semitism. That it was a very clear happening. And that actually all stemmed from getting the Federal Reserve. So we'll get into that a little bit more. Foreign culture is great in their own countries. That's why we go on holidays. Amen. Amen to that. I love that. Netanyahu's son replaced him in a meeting in Hungary, and the official account from Israel PM cabinet posted a video with old images of him since at least the 90s. Ooh, he's just not with us anymore. He is with whoever the heck he went to. He is not
Boiling in
on
his
this
own
living earth.
excrement.
Yes. Well, the first lady sounds like reading a foreign language from the teleprompter. What lady? Sorry, love. Give me more
Are
info
you talking
here.
about Melania? Maybe?
Yeah. You guys want to move the party to my live? I'll send you the link in the Discord. Yes, we will. Sorry, we are late. Send it. I don't think he sent it yet. Okay. Yes, of course, Bae. Sorry. We've got I feel like the second half of our show we really gain a lot of speed. Like, I don't know if you feel that way.
I know
Rose,
it
but
always.
I feel like
I
we
think
start
I
like
think it
getting
just
to a groove.
also depends on when people get to stumble into the stream.
It's true because we have a lot more people now even than we started. So, okay. Well, I feel like that's all I have anyway. We're gonna take the. No, you girls are good. Kelly's like, okay, good. Sorry, Baze. Yeah, we're heading out. But yeah, feel free to if you want us to hop in your guys's, let us know. Do you have your? Yeah, I have your link actually pulled up. Let me drop it in my
He
chat if
just
anyone
sent
wants to
it.
have
Yeah.
Perf.
All
right, y'all. So head all over here. We're gonna hang out with Baze, and the fam. Always a good time. Love talking to him. Let's go. Yeah, let's do it. All right, y'all. Please like and subscribe before you leave.
Yes, we
need
always
more
forget to
people.
ask, and I
Yes,
feel
we
like you
suck at
really do
that.
need to ask. I even forget. I was telling her earlier, there have been so many times where I'm watching someone, I'm like, I subscribed, right? And I'm like, I totally didn't. So, and we
Yes.
both have separate channels.
Yes. And
So.
we'll co-collab this stuff,
Yeah, so you'll
after
see
the
them
fact.
after they are done loading. You'll see both of our handles on there.
Yes.
But
The
we
real
love
Baze podcast
everyone.
call. All right, bye y'all.
Bye.